Welcome back. Welcome to the show. Welcome. There you go. Spenny, Spencer Rice, Lachlan Cross, live with a steel guitar and the harmonica. Did you not know he could do this? Listen to this guy go.
Is that him who plays your theme song, obviously?
That's him. Yeah. Dude, he is like
that's
fucking
a little Waltery kind of stuff you're doing, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
I think we got a bit of a delay, so it was hard to sort of read where you were going.
And I didn't have my finger picks on, so that was hard for me as well.
Yeah.
Nice playing, Spenny.
Look at these
nice playing, buddy.
Oh, thanks, man.
We got to get some fiber optic cables so we can have you guys play like a live show. We'll just get fiber optic pumped into your house, and you can just do live stream of like blues guitar, steel guitar. Because Spenny's like an absolutely incredible musician too. He plays this. Look at that. Look at this steel guitar.
Oh, yeah. Fuck.
Yeah, look at that. Anyway, welcome to the show.
So you get a C harp or rock and roll. Okay.
My name is Dean. That is Lachlan Cross, 95.7 Cruise FM at Edmonton. That is Spenny at Spenny or Spencer Rice. Obviously, Kenny versus Spenny. A bunch of other shows, including Telehor, which I'll get to a little later on in the program.
You're digging deep.
Yeah, how are you? You're back because last time, like yesterday, you were on the show and we were going to have a Q&A, live Q&A with Spenny because you're a comedic legend in comedy circles. And Lachlan, for some reason, chose to spend the entire hour we had with you asking you about the Green Party and complaining about who he votes for.
Now, that's a lie, Spenny.
I agree. It's a total lie. You were... Anyways, it's good radio or whatever this is. It's good online content.
We're still figuring that out, Spenny.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome back to the show. My name is Dean. That is, of course, Spencer Rice at Spenny is where you can find him on Twitter and all of his socials at Lachlan Cross, 957 Cruise FM in Edmonton. Strange how he's just having a soda water today, which is incredible. It's are you on the wagon? Off the wagon? What are you doing? You all right?
Well, last night I got up on my pony, and
today's a rehab day.
Today's a little slower, right? You know, maybe I'll get a carbonated drink in me to warm me up to the idea of hitting the fridge.
I love partying with conservatives, by the way. I wasn't joking when I said when they get down and funky, they're the best. Well, look at the way he plays harp. There you go.
Yeah. What do you mean you like to party with conservatives? Like, do you...
I don't know. Not the crazies. Just I don't know. I've always found conservatives, women who were conservative sexually were amazing because sex is always best when it's naughty, and so if you're conservative, it's probably a little naughty, which is always the best. I don't know. Just an observation. It's not foolproof.
So you're saying that if you
might be something to it,
if you partied with, if you're forced to party with like someone from the NDP, the Liberal Party, or the Conservative Party, you would party specifically with conservative women because they're freaky in bed and love to do drugs and drink a whole bunch. Is that correct?
Yeah, men and women, not sex, but just I don't know. I've always I'm not a drum circle liberal. You know what I mean? I'm not. I like to bathe. There's a certain kind of liberal out there that's a little too much for me. They're too into being groovy and all that stuff. I like solid people.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Drum circle liberal.
I don't like. What's it called when Bob Marley has them in his hair? What dreadlock? Liberals, the
hippie liberals. You're talking about the hippie dippies. Yeah. Those are the people. Certain groups of people that live in society today that want everybody to be okay with everything. And that's who those people are to me. My dad describes them as cave people, citizens against virtually everything. Like they're totally okay. Like their goal is, no, man, you got to let people be people. And you're like, great. What about these totalitarian dicks over here trying to take over the country? You're like, yeah, those people still need to be people. And you're like, okay, great. And then they go and ruin the country, or, talk about gun rights specifically.
Don't tread on me. These
don't
people are the treaders of all treaders. I mean, they're treading on women with the abortion stuff. I don't know, the whole thing.
Mhm.
Anyway, so basically, I sent you a message today that did I say that I was going to solve the problems of the world, or Canada?
Yeah, save Canada, actually.
Oh, just
Canada
I didn't
specifically.
oversell it. So I didn't oversell it. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm thinking, and I need help with this, but it's going to be my idea. I've trademarked it.
Yeah.
First, we have to decide what it is that's reasonable that could change. For example, it seems like nobody here really likes this Pierre Povilieri or whatever the hell his name is.
PP. Just call him
right.
PP.
So would stopping him from being prime minister be a worthy enough and reasonable enough thing to okay.
Yeah.
All right. I thought it would have more time burned on just.
I'd like to take one step further in that, Spenny, if I can interject quickly. I'd like to stop him from leading the Conservative Party.
Okay. Perfect.
And anybody with any sort of religious position at all. Like if you define yourself first as some form of religious person, I
Catholic,
don't think you
Christian,
should be allowed to run for politics.
Okay, let me take it further. So I only found out about the Brethren through Dean, actually, and reading his stuff. And this is a question for you guys. Do most people know about this, or is it still a kind of secret?
No.
What, the Plymouth Brethren Church?
Yes.
It's a pretty good secret. It's a decent secret. They keep a good secret. I'll tell you that.
Now, do you think that underground? Do you think that if it was outed, that secret in a major way, that would have an effect on his electability?
Huge.
No.
Yes,
I don't.
I do.
Oh, okay. Well,
I do. If you can tie, like if you can tie someone. This is like it's this thing now. Like you want to hang around people's necks. Their attachment to religious zealotry and extremism. And if you can tie Pierre Poilievre firmly and certain conservatives firmly to these religious sects, like the extremist sects, SECTS, by the way, not sex.
But Lachlan doesn't agree with you.
I know, but that's I'm just voicing my opinion. That's all.
I know, but if I'm going to do this, I want to have an agreement here.
Well, let's just say he's agreeing with us. Locke, agree with him. Yes, we can.
No, he doesn't.
No, I don't. I think if we attach it to him, it might actually help him.
Oh my God!
I don't think he gives any. I don't think people care. I think we're that
psycho those guys
apathetic to what's happening in the world right now. The people are like, oh, whatever. Maybe I'll vote for the Green Party. Listen to the dick that was on here yesterday. What was his
Green
name?
Party City. He was a Green Party booster for a whole fucking hour.
We're losing touch with our hope on what's going to happen.
Okay, but
I don't want to throw a wrench into. Okay, I'll agree.
No.
I
want to have a consensus here. So let's find something that you think would be a very good thing that could maybe be accomplished. That isn't completely insane. That's actually practical. Let's all three of us agree on something. This is what I thought it would be more like. We take a lot of time on this.
Okay. So first of all, I happen to believe, and I don't know if Lachlan doesn't, but I happen to believe if you can legitimately attach a political opponent or a political person, someone who's saying they're in it for Canadians, to the dogma of the religious sectarian cult that they're involved in, I think that goes a long way.
I agree. By the way, Lachlan, I agree totally with Dean in that I think the people that wouldn't care would be a minority. A minority.
That's how people get in this country now. We are led by the minority vote. We don't have the majority of the population, and the overall consensus in this country is generally not. That's not what wins.
No, but that's part of my plan. I want to activate these people.
We want to do the reverse activation.
Okay, so if we can somehow prove a direct tie to this, not my word, cult.
Yeah, my word.
You're saying that I can get on board with that for the sake of helping the conversation move along.
So we now have the next thing is what we do is we pick, it's an arbitrary number. I would say 50 Canadians who have a reach on social media of, let's say, 50 to 100,000 people or more.
Okay.
So in other words, within the realm of whatever they do, they have pretty big followings. But they also have to be agreeing with what we're agreeing to as well, which I don't think would be that difficult. Do you?
No, not when there's like thousands and thousands of receipts of the Plymouth Brethren Christian Church's sectarian bullshit and criminality. No, there's it's not hard.
So these individuals would have to agree with us that
just the 50.
Yeah.
Well, because what we're going to do, we're going to reach out to them.
Yeah.
We're going to reach out to them with. I think it should be a letter, some kind of simple but decent communication that's so reasonable that they'd have a very difficult time, unless they didn't want to be political, then that person would be off the list, and very well reasoned, with as well maybe some information to get back to what you said yesterday about money and how to give money to whatever candidate isn't that person, right?
Yeah.
Because that's probably very true. I don't know if it was Lachlan or Dean, which one of you guys said it yesterday, which is, they're not giving money. Dean? It was Lachlan? Okay.
Yeah.
That wasn't my philosophy. That was
Max
something we heard on this podcast, though.
Well,
that makes complete total sense.
Point proven, though. Point proven, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So then we reach out to these people with a suggestion that we're worried about the things that we're worried about. This is a very simple post that we think that we'd have to come up with, obviously, that is reasonable. It's not extreme. We're not asking for a lot of money. We're not asking, but a help note to make sure that people don't get to power, that we don't want to get into power, and then have them take that note, or whatever we want to call it, and post it on their social media. So that their people, maybe, and this is where you might say, Spenny, you're idealistic, you're a dreamer. But to me, it's like, definitely if I say people to do something, I'm a dreamer. I know nothing's going to happen. But if we find these individuals who have large followings and presumably are respected by the people, and obviously it's going to be international in terms of the people that they follow, but I'm sure a lot of Canadians will follow them if they're Canadian famous people, or not just fame. I'm talking about when we pick the group, that should be in the medical field, in the media field,
academic,
sports,
financial, sports,
like Doug Gilmore, I don't know how many followers he has, and I don't know what his politics is.
Lots. And his politics are like ours. He's a fucking great guy. I had a conversation with him like 3 weeks ago at the Joe Carter Classic, and I'm like, how you doing? He's like, totally vaccinated, feel great, life's good. He goes, I follow your stuff. He's like, and then he told me about his situation. He knows some people that aren't vaccinated. He goes, you know what he said to me? He goes, can you believe those fucks?
Okay, well, that's a great example. I don't think we'll have I don't think there would be a hard time finding the people.
No.
The question is, if they did what we wanted them to do and agreed with us, would that have an effect in the next phase of their followers actually listening to whatever it is we're asking them to do?
Okay,
so can I ask you a couple questions, process questions? I'm following too. I fucking like this, and I don't think you're a dreamer, Spenny. Spencer Rice.
I'm shocked. I thought I'd be laughed off the.
No. What you're talking about is building a community of influencers to sewer people so that we don't get the worst people doing what they're doing to us right now.
I don't think it's sewer. I think that's a strong word. Job. I think it's to get the word out there about where we're at.
No, we have to use language that's not offensive.
No.
Yeah, you're
Dean's not writing any of this.
We'll be out. Although or maybe his group. I mean, you've got quite a number of followers yourself, my friend. No, I don't think it's about insulting them. I think it has to be short, sweet, and righteous, basically.
So you're talking about almost like organizing a bot army of real people to be able to share certain pieces of information that would help Canadians make better informed voting decisions. Is that correct?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
I also think you have to be careful in that you don't present yourself on a side. Like you can't, this can't be something that is perceived one side or the other. It has to be from the middle.
Yes, 100%. You're right. I should have said that. Yes, it has to appeal to conservatives as well as liberals, because Dean might have a problem with that. But
no, I don't.
No.
I listen.
A lot of this thought came from our show yesterday,
Yeah.
and especially when Lachlan was talking about, that he's conservative and proud, and I stood up and said, yes, you should be. We're not talking about conservatives. We're talking about a
lunatics that are trying to take over the party.
Yeah.
Yes. And what also resonated with me was the money thing, what you said, and realizing what's gone on in the States. And, they're very excited about these horrible things. We need to build some kind of excitement or some kind of offense against it. And I don't know. I'm absolutely stunned that you think this is a good idea. But
dude, I think it's a fucking great idea.
I think it's better than great. I think it's brilliant.
I do too,
wow.
Dude. You're a fucking brilliant human being, and what you're talking about is organizing, right? Which is what you were talking about yesterday.
Well, that's
which is what Lachlan was talking about. Yeah, I fucking love it, dude. I think it's incredible.
Okay,
and I think it's achievable because you're talking about like 50 Canadians. You can get you, your buddy Conan, who you know well, Jimmy Kimmel, who you know well.
They're Americans. This is just for Canada.
Doesn't matter, dude. You know how many people like you bleed in a couple of big swinging dicks from the United States with huge followings who are like, yeah, Spenny's telling me.
Here's the work part. We have to reach them not on social media. We have to reach them other ways, and that's going to take some work. What do
you mean, the celebrities or the people?
Because you got to sit down and you have to sit down and present your argument.
Yes. This is what we're doing. Would you like to? It's okay if you don't. Just be very reasonable and friendly about it. Mm-hmm. Do you agree with what we're postulating? And that's why it can't be offensive. It has to be, I could try to draft it and send it to you guys, and you can play with it, and we can come up with something. And I don't want to offend anybody. I really don't. I just
and that's where you and I are different. I do. I don't mind trolling and offending people while we're trying to make a difference. But what you're talking about,
wait a sec. I offend people plenty. It's just this particular plan.
He doesn't want to offend people.
Yeah, I get it. And I get it. I totally understand. And I'm 100% on board. Like when I said, I'm out, I'm in. I can do an unoffensive tweet. No big deal. I can do it. I do it all the time. I just choose to do the other stuff as well when it's really important because I enjoy it. It makes me feel good. Watching someone delete their account or fucking like melt down is like one of my favorite things in the world. But I can leave that aside. I can take it. I can put it in the side and I can go, listen, we're going to be good people about this. And I have an example of that.
Half full or half empty?
I don't know. I don't even see your cup anymore. I don't see cups.
C cups. That's a breaststroke. It's like my load. C cups. See? Did you mean that? No,
I didn't mean it at all. I don't see cups.
Well, that's what happened to me, Lachlan.
Okay. So to you, with Lewinsky yesterday,
yes.
And Pink, and Sarah Silverman, and several others.
No, they were very different.
Okay,
maybe we should find somebody else to write this first letter.
No.
Spenny's a conduit. Who's the front man?
Yeah, I don't think people realize how tuned in, how attached to celebrity culture Spenny is in the United States. Not just in the United States, but here in Canada. He's literally a comedic legend in this country. He's like
we need to find a normal person to confront this and to be the you guys. Either one of you two would be better than me. I think there's just too much.
I disagree. First off, we have proof of that.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people do you know that can pull off a hat like that? Nobody. And that right there, I think, that establishes that you're the guy, you're the front runner.
I'm taking off my comedy and I'm being serious.
Yeah, we're being serious too.
We're
Plus
being serious
significantly
too.
older than us. More people know who it is. It's us. It's okay, but what if we get you and like two other guys? Like, what if we can get Ryan Reynolds? What if we get Ryan Reynolds to talk about stuff like
that's what I'm talking about,
right? But Ryan Reynolds.
I want to reach people across all disciplines, not just entertainment.
Okay.
I want to reach politicos. I want to reach journalists. In terms of these 50, it's an arbitrary number. 50 people.
Max is a little liberal, a little hard on the liberal side of things, and may find it difficult to try to present an argument that wouldn't offend the right, if we can use terms like that.
Who's Max?
Fawcett.
don't know.
From National Observer. He's fucking great. He's the lead columnist for
You know
National
what?
Observer.
If he doesn't want to do it, but says God bless, I can't do it. That's fine.
Well, a lot of those guys won't. But what we will do is be able to find a bunch of people that do cross a bunch of different forums to be able to support this. In case in point, and this would be a great example. And first of all, I love it. I think you can do a couple of things. I think you can send letters to people and target different people with it. But I also think you can develop like this army of individuals where you have a sign-up sheet on the front page of your thing. And you're like, hey, listen, if you've got over these many followers, or if you're just interested in this stuff and you want to get this information out so that we can, take care of Canadians and prevent certain assholes from ascending to office based on cultural bullshit, sign up here. And you can be part of this crew, this group of people, this roving group of social media people that love to share accurately vetted information about individuals that just is basic rumor, right?
I think Lachlan nailed it. It has to be, and you too, Dean, it really has to appeal to anybody, regardless of where they are in the political spectrum, that is interested in truth and is not a Bible thumper, for want of a better term, and I think that's what will make this thing possibly.
I love it. I love it. We can work on that. Like,
all right, how do we monetize? Just kidding. Just kidding. That's why I can't do it, because I'll say shit like that.
No. We can figure it out. Let me just bring this up, and I want to serve this up. This is an example of what you're talking about. So I've been doing some reading, not just about Plymouth Brethren Church, and we're going to have Richard Marsh on, who was excommunicated from the church, and they've been after him for like I don't know how long. We're having him on next week.
Didn't you already have a guy?
Yeah. Maybe we've had lots of guys on. Richard Marsh, David Wallace, all those cats.
James, have you heard of Blackballed on the network, Spenny?
Podcast?
Yes, yeah. I've seen it. I don't know if I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. James is the guy behind that, and he has been doing a lot of work, like
James
ton
Wallace?
of work. On the
Fiore.
DBS.
James stuff through.
James is quite heavily, like, he's balls deep into this shit. Yeah. And he's been doing quite a bit of the legwork on digging this stuff up. And then this podcast is sort of every once in a while pulled, the odd guy in.
And Richard Marsh is one of them. David Wallace was the other guy. Yeah. But he and I have been kind of talking back and forth about this new religion that's been popping up that is associated with the Plymouth Brethren Church. And I want to bring this up because this is what you're talking about, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if you guys have seen this. Fairly fascinating. At least I'm fairly fascinated with it. The church in I think it's in Montreal. I believe it's in Montreal, called Saint Brigitte.
Oh, the red door thing.
Have you seen this? Yeah. It's a pretty fascinating story. So they bought this 100-year-old Catholic church, which was deconsecrated, called Saint Brigitte's. And when I say we have no fucking idea who they are.
What does deconcentrated mean?
Deconsecrated means that
I had that for dinner last night. I got a little deconsecrated after my Indian buffet.
You went for Indian last night?
No.
Oh, okay. No, the only food I can't do is Indian. It's just
fit into the
yeah.
Go ahead.
Anyway, no, it's literally.
I use both hands to wipe my ass, so I'm always confused when I go for Indian food.
Okay, that's nice.
So anyway, I'm a Jew.
Well, you're supposed to use your right hand. You're supposed to wipe with your left.
Oh God!
And then you're supposed to eat with your right hand.
No, you don't shit and eat at the same time, dude. That is not how you do it.
No,
anyway, I want to talk about this church.
You're supposed to wipe with the left and then eat with the right, and then I get that confused all the time, and then I feel like I'm breaking some rule when I'm at the Indian food restaurant.
Okay.
Clearly, which you've never been, because that has nothing to do with anything. But anyways, go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, just as long as you can get it out, I'm happy you did. But there's a church that's for sale in Montreal called Saint Brigitte's. Now, Saint Brigitte's deconsecrated means the church is like, we're going to pray over it, let it go. It's now just a building. It's not a holy site, and you can sell it. So it's sold for $6 million. $6 million to an unknown person associated with the convoy. Unknown.
I wonder where they got that $6 million
associated with the convoy. Rideau Vanier councillor Matthew Fleury said the situation shows the risk of having privately owned heritage property with close community ties on the market. Wounds left by the convoy are fresh. This is, I believe, in Ottawa. Sorry, this is in Ottawa, the Catholic Church, St. Brigitte's. It's on Patrick Street. And this church was sold. That's the new logo. Keep in mind, that logo is fucking incredible. That's the new logo. of this church, and they kept all the shit. And these people are now using this church, and they're calling this church the United People's Church of Canada. Now, when asked about what it meant, they're like, fuck, we don't know. It's just a thing. And it's not just them. Here's the thing. Due diligence process with the current owners, real estate online posting, 310 Patrick Street, $6 million. Land registry said the company that bought it was a number company traced back to Patrick McDonald. CBC tried to get a hold of him. They couldn't. They were asked where the organization found funds for a purchase of that size. The guy who runs it, named Matthew Comer, said the main funding sources through community bonds. Added information will be shared later online. The United People's Church website also offers visitors an opportunity to donate or buy a range of products with the organization's logo, from $45 water bottles to hats and $250 high-top sneakers. The commenters on Facebook and Reddit have posed questions about the organization online. Comer said they have even gone further, suggesting their connection to the convoy. They said, quote, "We're not Nazis, racist, misogynist, whatever else is defamatory, libelous writing online that we understand is both no civilly and potentially criminal culpability for individuals." He said the organization has retained counsel. That's what a church does when it goes into business, right? You go get fucking a whole bunch of lawyers. Yeah, that's good.
So what do you think's going on? Obviously, you have an idea here.
Well, now here's where it gets interesting. One of the senior advisors on the board of the People's Church of Canada, who gets paid by this church, which is amazing, Dwayne Litch, Tammy Lish's husband, convoy organizer. There he is wearing the shirt of the People's Church of Canada. This guy is so stupid. This is how fucking dumb he is. So they've employed the dumbest man in Canada to be an advisor for this brand new church, who was attached to the actual convoy. His wife is actually in jail again because she breached all of her conditions, and she was the financial organizer of the convoy. Somehow the financial organizer of the convoy's husband is involved with the church of mysterious $6 million money that they purchased this old, beautiful church in downtown Ottawa, and they're renaming it the People's Church, and they're selling, high-top sneakers, handbags, and it's all about freedom and conversation.
Do you know what he's not involved in?
No.
Orthodontry.
Well, go back to that picture, because I have a comment to make about the potential relationship of these two.
Well, hang on. I want you to have a look at the shirt. And there's the logo. There's the shirt. And there's Mr. Comer, William Comer, the director of this organization called the United People of Canada, says it plans to turn the church into a community hub where conversations can happen, but he won't say where they got the money, won't say who he's working with, won't say how they get their funding, all he said was, hey, listen, careful, if you talk bad about us, we're going to fucking sue you, and if you want, you can buy a water bottle from us for $45. So, where did this money come from? Great question. Nobody knows. We're going to find out. They're going to release, apparently, who the person was, the benefactor was, and you can guarantee that benefactor just had that money given to him through a series of different things, and this is the People's Convoy Church. That much I absolutely know, that they've actually started through PBCC, through a whole bunch of religious maniacs, through people that wanted to watch Canada burn for a couple of months in Ottawa, through people who hate this country and fly flags upside down. They have legitimately started their own church, and it's called the United People's Church of Canada. That is their logo. This is how fucking stupid they are. That is the actual logo for Gondor in Lord of the Rings. They stole it from a Lord of the Rings logo. They stole it. Look at that. That fucking incredible is that. There's their logo. There's the Lord of the Rings logo. One ring to rule them all. That's the inscription around the actual logo. If you've seen Lord of the Rings, you understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But that's
I was wondering
the kind
why
of
it seemed familiar to me.
This is the kind of stuff, Spenny, when you put it together, you can do some real damage to people. You can do real damage to these organizations. When you put this in the hands of like 50 to 100 really well-heeled, smart influencers, big followings across all cross-sections, that's the kind of stuff that you're talking about, right? That's the kind of stuff people would love to hear and go, how is this fucking allowed?
Well,
How are you just allowed to hide behind a fucking brand new church in a new denomination that has nothing to do with anything other than selling sneakers, high tops, generating revenue, and probably laundering fucking millions of dollars for conservatives?
Well, a church, it's nonprofit,
shit.
right? Like it's a tax haven. So they probably used the money from the convoy, from the GoFundMe, right? Or what was it called? But wasn't there a chunk of money missing from that?
8 million, yeah.
Yeah. That's a surprisingly close number to what the church cost.
But is that what you're talking about, Spenny?
Not really. I only see we're discovering how petty Dean Blundell is. He hates these people so much that he's taking my beautiful movement of positivity and engagement, and he wants to basically burn down
using it to sewer people.
I thought that's what you were talking about.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought we could try to work this in.
We could maybe work it in, but bring your marshmallows for a Dean's thing because there's going to be an arson. But no, I'm talking about helping good people get ahead is what I really see it about. But there is some point of it where you do have to identify the bad guys that we think are bad.
Okay, what do you mean helping good people get ahead? So like having that army of people and only talking about the good people?
If we want to bring down Pierre, let's say, we've got to help Brown. Who's the guy that he douched? Brown.
Patrick Brown, yeah.
Patrick Brown. I don't know if he's a good guy or not.
No, he's not. He's his own douche wallet as well.
He's just a different level of douche.
Yeah, he's like, they're all fucking criminals. Yeah, dude. Patrick Brown is one of the most fucking compromised assholes you'll ever find in politics, and the reason why he keeps getting sued is because he's one of the most compromised assholes in politics.
Okay, so we need to. We're not going to do it overnight. It's going to take 15 minutes of thinking.
It's going to take some work.
It's going to take a little bit.
I think dude. But I think as a sewering concept, it works.
I know you do.
Dean keeps trying to work the sewering thing back into it.
Remember when Michelle Obama said, "When they go low, we go high." I'm trying to go high, and Dean, you're just low. Yeah. You're so low.
I don't really remember that. There's times. I said this the other day. Don't you guys think it's time? By the way, I've got a bunch of questions to ask you, Spenny, as does Locke. Because we were supposed to do questions. Well, yeah, you are. This is your thing to save Canada, but I've got some questions to ask you too.
No, that was a new thing that came about from yesterday's. I had a list of questions from yesterday, and because Lachlan wouldn't shut his mouth about the Green Party, I got three questions.
Okay, so get to your next question. Get to question 4, and then I'll get to my question.
You were fine.
I'm fine with you sewering me, right? It's not part of
I know you are.
Save
it's
Canada
all the fun
project.
of it, frankly.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, CNN.
Yeah.
Everybody that doesn't like me says all you do, Spenny, is watch CNN. I watch a lot of CNN. I'm a television addict. Okay. It's not the only source where I get news. I read stuff from the Christian Science Monitor, which Noam Chomsky turned me on to as being a very good source for actual news. I know it says Christian in it, so Dean's already having a connection. But they actually present the news well. I even read Al Jazeera. But I want to know what you guys think about CNN. Is it I know it's biased. I'm not naive. It's obviously biased. But I watch it enough to know that they report on things that they don't like reporting on. Maybe not as much. And I want to know what you guys a comparison of that to Fox, because I'll just tell you what I think, and then I want to hear what you think. Yeah, I think Fox to me is ridiculous. It's not media. It's not the journalism at all. I think CNN is biased journalism, but it's journalism. I don't think they lie their ass off all the time.
No, you know what Fox seems like to me? It seems like a comedy skit with people that aren't funny that wrote it. And then you keep waiting for it to get funny because it seems like it's going that direction. Like there's no way anybody could actually be sitting in a seat in front of a camera doing this without the sole purpose of parody. Mm-hmm. So that's what I can't get past that when I watch it.
I think they even said that in court, like in a bunch of court cases. They're like, hey, listen, Fox isn't guilty of lying because they don't presented this. They're saying, like in court, Tucker Carlson about a year ago, he's like, I don't do news. It's not news. I don't tell the truth. It's a joke. It's just skits. I'm just doing skits. So I think they've acknowledged.
That's really funny because I just saw, you probably
these
saw
are skits.
Did you see that interview Tucker did with he was a left-wing journalist that wasn't very good in terms of, he got kind of owned by Tucker Carlson.
I did see that.
You did see that.
I can't remember the guy's name though, but
it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is that the guy tried to label him on this replacement, white replacement. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
The Great Replacement. And Tucker answered it really beautifully, although I don't think in any way it absolves him from what people believe this white replacement to be, and that the underlining racism about it. So I'm just saying that I hate Fox. I don't like Tucker Carlson, but I was sort of blown away by how well he defended himself. And I don't think it was, what's the word, legitimate. I think he just knows how to talk.
Yeah, he's well spoken.
Where are you at with CNN?
CNN,
I
don't watch
for this as well.
I don't watch CNN. I've never watched Fox. I just watch clips out of context of them embarrassing themselves with weird fucking analogies that don't matter. I think I'm split on Canadian media too, but CNN don't watch, Fox don't watch. Generally speaking, I don't watch television news at all.
Okay.
I watch a little bit of BBC. I watch CNN. I watch CBC. I get a lot of news from different sources online as well. And the thing that I'm bothered by, and this is just something that has really sort of it's sort of gotten into my craw, because I get attacked about being a libtard, and I get attacked for being conservative. I get both sides coming at me depending on how I present in an argument. And
welcome to the center.
Yeah.
And everybody in the center is either a libtard or fascist or a commie or all
almost
three,
daily. Right? I get both sides of it, right? So the thing that I find interesting about that is quite often that if you go down that rabbit hole with somebody that's fighting with you on that, they will talk to you about, you got to stop watching CNN or what, like you got to use a different, and then the other one is you got to stop getting your news from Facebook or what, which I don't do, by the way. But the thing that I'm concerned about with where we're at is I find it interesting that people have lost the ability to separate the bias from what they're watching. If you're watching CBC, you know they lean a certain way just on being a fairly intelligent individual, right? I know what I'm going to get when I watch CBC.
Right.
And then I do the balancing out in my head.
Exactly.
Right? I do the same thing when I watch CNN. And the problem I have with CNN is there was so much emphasis in the last couple of years, and you could just tell these guys they just fucking hated Trump. And so everything that they reported on wasn't from a perspective of, listen, here's the news, you guys need to decide this. It was like, almost, can you believe what this guy is doing? It was a lot of that.
Well, and Don Lemon is the best because he does that quiet look to the camera of disgust.
Come on,
it's like a 6 seconds. It feels like an hour. But he'll just not talk and just stare in righteous indignation. But I think you nailed it, though. Go ahead. Sorry.
I used to be able to watch Anderson Cooper. I can't. I have to turn him off now. I don't know what happened with him, but he has lost this ability to present the news from a perspective of, okay, here, this is what's happening right now. And here it is. We're a news station. You come to us for news. Here it is. I'm going to hand it to you on a platter. Now you need to go do whatever you need to do with it to make up your mind about what's happening. It's not presented that way anymore.
No, it hasn't for like 25 years. Like it's been that slow division.
Kind of right.
Wait a sec, Lachlan. You're the same guy who agreed when I said this Trump. What's happening is insane. Why should they treat Trump and Trumpism as anything other than what we know it to be? So it doesn't bother me, is what I'm saying.
No, it got too much though.
Yeah, no,
it got too animated, and I hate Trump as well.
Yeah,
I think the guy's a moron. I think he did so much damage in the last 4 years and will continue to do like unbelievable damage to that country that they are not going to recover the world. They're not going to recover from it for a long time. But I didn't think that the presentation was helping. I thought it was hurting, because anybody that leaned even a little bit right would have been turned off by the presentation. That's the problem I had. And there's already an issue with division in that country. So you kind of need some sort of an outlet that is going to present news to get to both sides to bridge the gap.
Just today or yesterday, CNN had on John Danforth, who's a Republican and is anti-Trump to the max, and he's formed a group of reasonable Republicans, and this was on CNN. But I agree with you. The one thing I quickly say, I remember years ago when I was living in California, and I was actually right wing back then, and I was listening to a lot of right wing radio. And I come back probably to do Kenny versus Spenny, and I'm at the hotel or whatever watching CBC, and I hadn't really watched CBC in a while. And the story was that I guess the government, I don't know if it was provincial or federal, had raised taxes, and they were doing streeters with Canadians walking down the street, and every one of them said, "Well, as long as the services are good, I don't mind." I mean, and there wasn't one person.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that in the U.S. if you asked about raising taxes?
No.
I'd say daily I have to turn CBC off.
I don't. So can I let me
see? It's their bias. It doesn't surprise me. It's just
what though, you can't, like, if you're gonna watch. So here's the thing, because I want you to move on to your next question, because I don't want to kill this question too. But I will say this is that seriously, I love talking about the news and what we watch. However, I don't think a lot of people want to sit and listen to go, yeah, what about Al Jazeera? You like Al Jazeera? Okay, let's go on to CTV with Lisa LaFlamme. Do you like that broadcast? No, but I think you're doing yourself a disservice because of the way that we've had this divergence in cultural news giving, right? Where because listen, here's how it works, and we've said this many, many times before, and then I want you to get to your next question. That news organizations, media companies are all owned by a very small group of people in Canada, telcos, right? So they serve those narratives. They use those things as ways to be able to serve narratives that help their business / executive / governmental relationships, or their executive relationships, right? So the guys at Bell, the guys at Rogers, they're all like, hey, listen, we're going to do business with these guys. We'll promote these narratives. We'll bury these stories. Yeah, they're all power centers. It's all they fucking are. So, like, when you think about and you see it happen, and you know that everything gets funneled through this tiny, tiny little fucking tube, that we don't really get access to real information here in Canada. CBC is kind of your only option if you're really going to sit there and watch news. But I would encourage everybody to not get their news just from the television. Go to AP, go to Bloomberg, go to Axios, go to like real sites that deliver real news and have multiple sources.
I read AP a lot.
Yeah, you should. And you should read Axios too, because you get great breakdowns of what it is we're talking about.
At all.
Next question, Spenny, please.
Okay. Christofascism.
Yes.
This is the new term. It's hip. It's now. It's what we're calling it. Is this really a problem in Canada? In your opinion? Okay, please.
Yeah. Well,
I missed the term. Sorry.
There you go.
Christofascism.
There you go.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
There's a church that was purchased for $6 million by a group of people who literally went camping in the middle of fucking Ottawa for a month and brought jerry cans and derelict cans of propane into the downtown core, lit fires, took shits in the streets, made like chili huts.
Well, they were shitting in the alleys, to be fair.
True. But I don't know. Did you see any of the signs in the convoy? Like, hey, fuck the vaccine. Jesus will fix you. Do you see any of that? Do you see all the attachment back to, Jesus and Christianity and evangelical bullshit? And,
my question is it a
major problem? It is a major problem. It is Christofascism, or theocracy, has absolutely destroyed conservative politics in this country. Destroyed it. Yeah. Major problem.
I would agree with Dean. I think it's probably my biggest concern right now moving forward as somebody that has traditionally voted conservative, because and I'll give you a quick sort of
There's
view
no way
into
this is going to be quick. There's no way.
It'll be quick. I'll give you a quick view into Locke. I did not do the heavy lifting on raising my kids. My wife did. She did a fantastic job. But I had a couple of things that I wanted to make sure happened at the beginning of this when we sat down and we were deciding to have kids. And then we had kids. I said, there will be no religion in our home. I will not allow my children to be raised, but go to religious schools. If they so choose, I'll support it. But the starting point is zero religion in this household. My wife had absolutely no problem with that. There was a letter that was sent home from the school that she was in, that we put her in, to avoid the mainstream Catholic in St. Albert. They were actually the public school system here. So we went the other track, and they wanted to do the Lord's Prayer in the mornings. And I was ready to go down there and pull them out and find another school. I swear to God, just the mention of the Lord's Prayer had me on my horse on my way down to the school. Quickly, somebody, obviously, because there was more than a couple of dads like me that were down in the parking lot going, no. They sent a letter out going, oh, we've changed our mind on that. So that stopped. But I think we need to remove religion from politics as a whole. Yeah. I think if you choose to be religious and have faith, that is your decision. It should not creep its way into
shouldn't
politics.
Be projected out to people. It's in your house, right?
Was
in
your house. Lachlan, when you were in school, did you have religion?
I was raised 100% by hippies. There was no religion in my life at all. I've never even cracked a Bible.
Dude, his mom was giving him like pot brownies when he was 6. So yeah.
Okay,
that
so
was an accident.
We all know the opposite of kids that, let's say, were anti-drug during high school.
Yeah,
and then when they got into their 20s and 30s, when they probably should have sobered up, they start getting into it. I'm just wondering if there isn't a forbidden fruit aspect to denying it, and then later in life they might just to be assholes take it up again. But that's probably stupid.
No, it's not stupid, and it actually absolutely is a thing. But I'd love to get to your next question as well, Spenny, because I don't want to waste your time. I really don't.
Theocracy is definitely something I'm very concerned about creeping its way, specifically into the Conservative Party, and it's actually the reason why some of the changes have been made provincially here in Alberta. I think Kenny was forced out by a theocratic movement within the UCP party. I don't know that for sure, but I have my suspicion. I also think that the reason why Doug is in Ontario is because he kowtows to that.
Big time.
And I think federally, that O'Toole was forced out because of his thoughts that they needed to move to the middle and maybe away from that a little bit.
Well, maybe that's what the at the top of the show we talked about, this plan, this idea. Maybe that's what we focus on.
Theocracy.
It's one way to, just keeping it not banning it, or obviously, but keeping it out of politics,
separating it.
Yeah. No, I fucking 100% agree. You won't find a more hawkish,
I don't know if we
I hate religion person than me. Sorry,
stay
Spenny. Go ahead.
Positive on that.
I can. You guys go positive. I'll go low. You guys go high.
Beans are low. We need the whole spectrum.
You got highs. I'm going to go low. Next question, Spenny.
Okay, so this is just about Justin Trudeau, which is I can't tell you how many times I've mouthed off about Trump. And I get the idiotic, we got problems in our country. Spenny, you're Canadian. What about that tyrant, Justin Trudeau? He's like Hitler. And I guess my question is, I know he's not perfect. I talked to Dean privately the other day, and he told me something that Justin Trudeau supports that he doesn't like. But overall, I don't have this feeling whatsoever to treat our prime minister anything like I do these Trumpy people. And I don't know. Am I wrong? Am I missing something? He just seems to me, yes, he probably is privileged, obviously. You know, he's done some things that are pretty crazy. I could care less about the blackface because I just don't think it's anything other than just some stupid thing he did when he was younger.
Well, and may I stop you there? Also,
Yeah.
if you've seen every episode of Kenny versus Spenny, as I have, you guys used that cultural appropriation as humor back in the day. This is like 20, 25 years ago as well. And
Yeah.
so like you and I, because we come from the entertainment side of things and from a different time, right? To us, it's like not as egregiously ridiculous as it should be and as it is, even though it's not something that you
But
and I
if he was wielding power in a racist way, that's one thing.
Yeah.
I work quite closely with somebody who did a skit as Oprah.
Right. Were they racist? Maybe, maybe not.
Probably. No, far from it. But he's terrified that tape is going to get out.
Okay, so what's your question is, should we be making more fun of him, even though we don't really have many reasons
it's not so much
to?
that, it's that I get, this will be the last question. I'm going to tie them together. I get the Trump derangement syndrome thing, or, you know, he's living in your head rent-free. You know, that is just, it's so stupid to me.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, yes, Justin Trudeau's not perfect, but, you know, to compare the two, it just seems, I guess I'm asking you, is there any comparison between the Trump people and Justin Trudeau, regardless of what some celebrities like Bill Maher and that British guy, Russell Brand, you know, and Rob Schneider, they say horrible things about Canada and this and that. I just, you know, maybe I'm privileged.
I have a thought, Dean. Do you want to take this?
Yeah, no, go ahead, and I'll bring up the rear, and then I'll ask Kenny about how long it takes.
All right, I'm way faster than you anyway, so I'll go here.
True. You and I both know that's not true.
I think, and this is the way that I can sum up the only connection I think there is between Justin Trudeau and Donald Trump is that I think, and this is coming from somebody that can't stand Justin Trudeau, I'm concerned about who is in the wings to replace him. Wildly concerned, but I think we need a change because I just don't feel like Justin Trudeau has figured out who he is. I think he's playing a character, and the more I hear him talk, and the more like the haircut, like what the hell? I've got a real problem. No, I don't like his haircut.
It's like the biggest problem that people have with him, literally, is this weird haircut that he got.
He's searching.
The biggest problem I have with Pierre Poilievre is that he lies every day about how terrible things are and uses fear to get fucking money from poor Canadians. Like that's a pretty big difference. He's also connected to a religious sect of legitimate community fucking weirdos. But
I said
this guy's
I'm
haircut,
worried about the potential replacement.
The worst. Yeah.
I don't agree. I think that Justin Trudeau has done a lot of damage to this country. And I think he needs to be held accountable for the division that is in this country right now. And if he is not self-aware enough to realize that, he needs to step away even more so.
I need to know what some specifics, just a few things that he's damaged the country, because I don't see it. But I'm open-minded.
All right, well, come and hang out with me for a weekend in Alberta, and we'll just drive around and maybe drink in a couple of pubs. That's all you need.
We'll play music. We're not going to talk about Trudeau.
Yeah, okay. But hang on. The only connection I see between the two, Donald Trump and Justin Trudeau, is that Justin Trudeau lived fairly, he got away with not being the center of attention for the things that were going wrong in this country because of what Donald Trump was doing in the States. The focus in Canada was largely on this maniac south of us. And it's all we talked about. And I was part of the problem. I was on this podcast. I was part of the problem. And so I bet you, I hope he's self-aware enough to realize that during that 4-year period, he should have been going home every day going, wow, this Donald guy, he's the best. Because no one has any eyes on me.
You got to tell me some specifics. You made a big charge there that he's hurt the country. I want to know, and I'm not arguing with you. I just really want to know what you think.
I think his approach to politics, and I mean, What do you want? You want me to talk about bills he's signed and passed?
Well,
Like,
I-
yes.
he did-
I just
yes,
hate the guy.
think we did.
I just hate the
hang
guy.
on, hang on. Let me go
Can't that
backwards.
be enough?
No, it can't actually. Not in this conversation. But like, I want to go back
You've
because
got Trudeau dementia syndrome.
exactly.
I don't
so
prepare. I
well,
don't
hang on.
prepare for
I know
this
you're not
podcast.
But listen, I want to say this because I think it's important to say. I don't like Justin Trudeau because he's a virtue signaler and he's overly dramatic. Those are not reasonable decisions to make when you're attesting to how terrible this guy is.
Yes, they
and
are.
how he hurt the country. Has he
Yes.
embarrassed? Is his haircut embarrassing? For sure. Is the Bollywood dancing and the cultural appropriation?
Awful.
Is it embarrassing? For sure. Has he done anything to legitimately hurt Canadians? Like go to them and hurt them? He's working on it. He's working on it. Well, hang on. He's working on it with Bill C-11 and the Do No Harms bill. He's working on kettling free speech in this country and user-generated content. That's a major problem for me.
And
Outside of that,
he has not lived up to many of his political promises that got him into outside of.
Well, hold it. Well, then you got to provide receipts for that because I said the same thing about
water
indigenous
for the
folks.
indigenous fucking population.
Something like 30% of the reservations that didn't have clean water in the last 2 years now do because he finally took it seriously.
He said he was going to fix the problem
after the residential
Canada.
schools.
The
Totally,
fact that anybody doesn't have access to clean water, and we're still talking about it in 2022, is a nightmare.
Totally, but you had a couple hundred years worth of governments doing the same thing over and over and over again, and finally something's happening. However, those are totally valid excuses for not liking the guy. What Spenny's asking. And it's just one of the things that you get into conversations with people when you're like, well, because everybody assumes if you shit all over Pierre and his theocratic bullshit and his stupidity and his wood porn and all the other dumb fuckery that he contributes to the society, you're like, this guy's a fucking idiot. They're like, go blow JT again, you JT blower. And you're like, well, that doesn't mean I like the guy. Like, I don't like him. He embarrasses me. I think he's soft. I think the way he's been soft on crime, soft on convoy people, soft on all the bullshit that we've seen that when I grew up was never fucking allowed, has fomented people. Well, no, but it's fomented what we see today as a major fucking problem with division. If you were to say to me, what has he done for this country or to this country to make it worse, being overly soft is one of the things that has absolutely led to us all being confused as Canadians going, hey, I didn't think people could pitch a fucking tent on Bank Street for 3 weeks. You know what I mean? I didn't think people could honk semi-horns for 3 weeks. And I know he's going after it now, but him not dealing with it and this government just allowing people to have perspectives and say what you want. But that's also another indicator that we are not a fucking communist country because people are walking around with like nooses and gallows and fuck Trudeau signs.
Don't you think when Ottawa was happening that he was talking with whoever he talks to about the options he had to deal with it? And he probably was hoping that it would go away on its own.
Spenny, you know what? I said this on the podcast multiple times. If he would have walked out on the front lawn of the legislature, like House of Commons, with a megaphone and said, "Get off my fucking lawn," I would have voted for him in the next election. I swear to God.
Okay, fair enough.
I swear to God, but he doesn't. His handling of Ukraine is embarrassing when he talks about how we got to arm Ukraine and he hasn't even armed his own military. Like there's so many things.
Yeah, he does. I mean,
there's a lot of contradictory things when he stands up. That's why it's hard to get into specifics because he's a politician. He gets up and he speaks and he says what he thinks he needs to say to reach the majority of the population. And then he just goes back to his condo and hides from everybody. He's a wimp. Yeah. He's a wimp. And that weakness is definitely it's shining through more and more.
Yeah,
I swear to God, if we hadn't had Trump for 4 years, he would not be running the country right now. Calling an early election because he thought he could get a majority. Come on. Like there's a ton of things that I think that he needs to be held accountable for.
That hurt the country.
That really hurt. How many millions of dollars? That was brutal. That was a dumb move. He should have just stuck it out, held on.
Yeah, and deserves all the criticism for
the election.
What's that?
What's that? Calling the election?
Yeah, he called that early election like 2 years early, and we're all sick as fuck.
Partnership with the NDP.
Vaccines.
That's bullshit.
That doesn't
That's bullshit.
It doesn't bug me. It protects us against people like Pierre, and a bunch of fucking really poor people got to get their teeth fixed, for Christ's sake. Like, I like that.
Right.
You're going to look at the
not
silver
Mitch's
line.
husband.
Can I ask you a question?
I think we are lucky, though. We are lucky that we have sort of checks and balances on a political on a political level that nobody is allowed to run amok with our laws and rules and regulations here in Canada. And again, I don't think people realize how lucky we are in Canada that our system, comparatively speaking to what's happening in the States, can't be fucked with as much as it can in the States based on just the establishment and how they've set things up. Right. In Canada, you're not going to get a situation where all of a sudden abortion is going to become illegal or across the board. Right. It's just not going to, it's never going to happen. Anyway.
That's good.
Can I ask you a couple questions, or do you have to go, Spenny?
A couple, go ahead.
Do you mind if I ask you some questions about
ahead.
you and Kenny? Okay. I got some questions.
Oh, by the way, Kenny has at least tentatively agreed to come on with your show with me. We'll arrange for that.
Can I be on that one too?
Yeah, of course you can. Of course you can. Well, why did you and Kenny split up originally?
We never did. We still work together.
Dude,
we just got on TV. What?
I watched the Pandemic trailer.
Yeah.
Says you guys hated each other. Says you ruined it. Says you ruined his life. Said you ruined your career, and he was going to work for you. You were going to work for him because you're broke.
Yeah, it's kind of true. I mean, it's true. I mean, Kenny was smart with his money. I told you I got a divorce in the States. It wiped me out.
Yeah.
I can play blues music. Maybe Lachlan and I will go start touring, but there's not a lot of money in that, in playing music from the 1930s. So I'm not sure what the question is. So we still work together. He leverages his power over me, which I'm not happy about, but I'm a grown man. I could walk away. I'm doing it for the money. I mean, let's be honest.
What do you mean leverages his power over you? Like he's like, if you want to,
he can decide what we do and what we don't do because he doesn't need the money. I want him to work way more than he's willing to work. And
how does he have more money than you? Other than the divorce,
he's smarter than me when it comes to street smarts. He invested smart. He bought houses that went through the roof in value. He had a Airbnb. He's always been smarter with about money. I'm terrible with money, absolutely horrible. But not like I spend it on frivolous things. That's not my problem. My problem is I trust the wrong people. I get taken. Then it's my problem and I own up to it. I'm not blaming anybody but myself, but
you got to think about any type of long-term relationship, Dean. You had them.
Yeah.
Right. A business relationship.
Yeah.
Creative.
There's a creative business relationship. There's imbalance.
We're not good business people as creative type.
No, we're not. And the thing is too, there's always an opportunity for a crossroads, if I can use a blues term, right? Where you come to head over stuff that you don't necessarily deal with properly.
You guys,
I mean, I've had this. I worked very closely and had very good shows with people that will never talk to me again.
Well,
it's not over money.
It's your breath. What? I don't know what's so funny.
You got to know him. I don't question that statement at all. He's worked with people that will never talk to him again. I know him. I love him. I want to talk to this guy forever because I got nothing but time for him. But if you know him, it's fucking the funniest thing in the world.
I have to tell you that the separation that Zoom has given us has probably added some longevity to the relationship that we
wouldn't be friends if we weren't on Zoom. Okay, so you said you quit.
Let me just finish so that we still work together. Our friendship's in a very good place right now because we don't have the pressure of television. Good. I love the live touring. He likes it, but doesn't want to do, like, he takes the summer off. You know, I don't like taking the summer off. I like
if he works, like when he works, he's doing it. He doesn't have to work, but he's doing it for you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but it's Kenny too, and he's a funny guy, so he'll make the audience know that he's only doing this for me because it makes me look bad. It's very complicated. It's very unique what we do. I like doing it, even though I kind of get screwed.
It's dysfunctional.
It's dysfunctional. But
Right?
what people don't understand is we've known each other forever.
Do you like him? Do you like him as a person?
love
Have you
him.
guys? Okay, so tell me about, because a lot of people have asked me yesterday in DMing. Can you ask Spenny the angriest he like legitimately was with Kenny during the show? Because the whole show is about Kenny basically fucking you over. Like
The
the
angriest
entire
I ever
show.
was at Kenny, and he at me was in real life stuff, nothing to do with the show. But on the show, probably when I whipped him with an extension cord and tore up his back because I think he poured a bunch of raw meat on me when I was sleeping. You know, it's stupid. I mean, the show is the show. It's a separate fucking idiocy, you know. But
Okay,
no,
okay.
the things that we got, you know, we were like guy friends, right? Like
Yeah.
I was very frustrated with him, so I would talk to a girl that he was with and tell her shit about him, and he would be furious, or I'd
Like
make a
what? Give me an example of that. How
no,
you'd sewer him with girls.
I'm not gonna do that. But it's basically it's
Was
just
it
me
penis
being
size related?
Yeah, was it
What?
penis related or fetish
No,
related?
his
Hey,
penis. By the way, his penis is bigger than mine. He
is
calls
it really?
his penis Sperthanthoclops, which is ridiculous, but that's what he calls it. And he's all about his penis. It's bigger than mine. It's not the big. He's not Rocco. It's Freddy or whatever that guy's name is. But whatever. It's just so ridiculous. Our show, our relationship. But
Yeah.
do we still fight? For sure, we still fight because we have a
Yeah.
business partnership. And he's got the biggest ego that you could ever imagine, like a ridiculous ego. And I have virtually no ego. So right there, you're going to have problems.
Yeah. I know, I understand. Now you said that you listen. If you've seen Kenny versus Spenny, as I have every episode, a lot of drugs, a lot of illicit drug use, admitted to it, use of like acid, all kinds of drugs that you did on the show. Do you still do all those drugs? And if not, which drugs don't you do?
Well, I the last time I did a psychedelic drug was magic mushrooms up at like Perry Sound in the islands there.
Yeah.
And I ate so much that I almost died. I had the best night of my life laughing until I went to bed and I woke up in a puddle of sweat. It never happened to me. I haven't done LSD since the Kenny versus Spenny episode, which is already years ago. But before that, many, many years ago, I used to do a lot of acid. Uh,
Do you like
I don't know.
acid?
What are you asking me? What don't I do? Now I don't do. I basically drink now, and that's about it. Really, I may take an Ativan, which I steal from my wife, and that's about it. But the problem is, see, the thing is, I don't mind talking about drugs because I'm pretty much anti-drug. If you want to know the truth,
Yeah.
I'm not putting people do whatever you want to do. I don't really care. For me, it was. You know, I experienced it. I'm glad I experienced it, but I'm an addict. I have addiction issues, so I took everything too far, and it hurt my life. I don't think it helped me. Because I do what I do, it doesn't make much difference. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm a brain surgeon, so I can get away with doing that stuff. But I've done heroin.
You don't even smoke.
Whoa. Heroin? You've done heroin? You've done H?
Yeah.
Did you smoke it or inject it?
Both.
You injected heroin? How old were you? And
I
what,
was
like,
in high school when I did that, and then when I took it up and really had a problem with it, I was snorting it.
wow, I didn't know that. That
But
explains
which
why
is
you were.
so funny that because heroin's got such a rap, you know, like you did H, what you're chasing the dragon, you know. The reality is it's like a very, very strong sedative, you know. For me, is really what it was. And when I think about my drinking days, that was way more crazy and wild. Alcohol is, you know, yes, if you're heroin, you could overdose, you could have fentanyl in it. Those are relatively new problems. But I like downers, or when I did drugs, that's what I liked. I like downers. I
So
love.
you didn't do you didn't do coke?
Oh, I did lots of coke, but I did it. I always wanted to have a Quaalude with it, or any kind of, you know, to even you out. I don't know why
You
you're
would do
laughing.
coke, but you would do other stuff with the coke, so the coke wouldn't be so cokey.
Yeah. And the alcohol. Are you guys? Why are you laughing? To me, this
I
is
don't
awesome.
know. That's funny. Please.
I've never
people
done
in the
coke. I've
comment
never done
section.
coke or heroin or anything, but like I've seen so many people that have done heroin and thrown their lives literally in the toilet. And I'm like, fuck, heroin must be incredible.
It's
Like
incredible.
heroin, like, you know, what's your favorite? Like of all the illicit drugs, have you done
Heroin.
PCP, by the way?
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, I know, but not on the air, so that's why I
Oh,
try to.
okay, great. Yes, I've done PCP, not many times.
PCP. You've done angel dust, heroin.
PCP is
PCP
angel dust.
angel dust, right?
Okay, so that's what that is. Have you boofed drugs before?
I don't know what that is.
In the hoop.
Oh yeah, in the
You
butt.
put drugs in your asshole? Yeah.
Well, my mother, you're gonna love that. If you think my mother,
that is a very
my
difficult
mother
segue.
My mother was addicted, like full on addicted to a barbiturate called Nebutol, which the only time I'd ever heard it in pop culture was in a Clash song. What's his name? Joey. What's his name? Johnny. Who's this thing?
Joe Strummer.
Joe Strummer. He screams out Nebutol in one song, which was it's a barbiturate, but it was the closest thing you could get to heroin, sort of made in the lab. And my mother was addicted to suppositories of this stuff, and she had like 6 doctors. So in the we're a Jewish home, so we had the Chinese food right in the fridge, the takeout Chinese food, and then in the freezer she had boxes of these fucking suppositories. Dean, if you did one, you wouldn't believe. 2 things happen. Either you'd get as high as you'd ever get in your life, or you'd sleep for like 3 days. One of the 2. And they were unbelievable.
Did you steal
your
mom's?
Dad used to say, because my dad was pretty straight. Well, he was an alcoholic, but he when my mom used to take the suppositories, and my dad would say, I go, where's mom? She's loading torpedoes. He'd actually say. Anyways, my dad was a riot, but both my parents, honestly, I love my parents were absolutely fantastic people. So I'm saying this. I know people are going to come to conclusions, right?
No, you can have a great relationship with your parents, and your parents could be addicted to all kinds of stuff. So could your kids. I mean,
you can still have good childhood memories with a mom that put barbiturates up her bum, right?
Exactly.
I think that's it.
That's the name of my first book. Actually, is going to be.
Yeah, it should. Did you
the
steal them
from saying it's a little wordy, but I think I like it.
Can we pare that down?
Spencer Rice.
Right.
My mom was addicted to putting barbiturates in her asshole. Forward by Lachlan Cross.
My story. Anyways, I can
okay,
tell you, I got stories you wouldn't believe, like drinking 6 drugs in Malibu. I had to get my stomach pumped, and I woke up in a parking lot, and some hippie had painted art all over my pants. I have no I was on the half-day cruise out of Malibu, and I got so fucking wasted before I even boarded the boat, and then we hit the rough seas, and all the shit and piss from the toilet came up over I blacked out. I woke up. I was so sick, and I had art all over my pants. Some guy, anyway. I got to go, guys.
Okay. All right, man. Thank you so much, dude.
Spenny,
great to see you again.
Love you.
I know, but do you understand why I can't be the front man for her idea? This is not a good thing. You need to find, I like Ryan Reynolds, somebody like that.
Well, dude, whenever Kenny comes back, or whenever Kenny's going to come on, and we'll do a time that works for both of you guys. We'll flesh that out. We'll figure it out, and we'll get his help
won't
as
be
well.
Serious. All he'll do is insult me, but it'll be fun.
Well, I'm looking forward to that too. But great to see you at Spenny on Twitter.
I have a very serious question for you.
He's got to go.
No. This
little
is quick.
Vaseline on the suppository. Is that the question?
No.
You don't want to go dry. It's not good.
The tour. Are you hitting Edmonton soon?
Not. We're doing BC, and we've got a few dates in Ontario in about a month, and then we're doing BC in September, October. I can't remember.
Where in Ontario?
I've been a million times. We play at the. Where are you in Edmonton?
I'm in Edmonton.
Yeah. We did some things at that crazy bar. I think it's Edmonton. Cowboys. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah. It's changed. It's not Cowboys anymore. I think it might. The Ranch. Cowboys in Calgary. Maybe
that's Calgary. I don't know. What
it doesn't matter. If you end up in Edmonton, you and I got to get together and jam. Well, I'll find us a stage. I'll find us a bar, and we'll go.
Hey, but I know blues. You can blow the harp. I believe.
That's it. That's all we need. We're done. We don't even need a song list. Let's just fucking
Dude, I'll
go.
play the drums. I'm there. I'll be the lead singer.
Oh, by the way, Dean, who was that concert photo? It was like a guy sitting down. There was a bass player. Who were they?
It was Rage.
Oh,
it was
Rage Against the Machine. Yeah.
Fuck.
Rage Against the Machine. Hamilton last night. Have you guys, dude?
I've never seen
easily
Rage.
One of the best shows you'll ever see in your life. If you have the Rage is here, I think tomorrow night.
I don't think so.
Oh, dude, easily. That's one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life.
I've never heard of them.
Rage Against the Machine. You've never heard of it?
But you know what? You wanted to hear a great story? Buddy Guy. This is for Lachlan. Buddy Guy years ago was playing at the Horseshoe Tavern in Toronto, right? Sort of a legendary place. And he was doing obviously blues music, but for some reason he did "You Give Me Fever," right? I don't know who was who. It's an old song.
You give me fever.
Yeah. So
I think Anita Simone, kind of an R&B classic,
right. And so he's doing the song, which is a little off center for what he does, but he's wasted on his Cavassier. This is a while ago. Buddy gets hammered at the shows, and he goes into the audience with this guitar and the mic, going, "You give me fever," and then he'll give the mic to someone in the audience, so point it at them, and they'll say, "You give me fever." Yeah. And he goes up to some hoser who was at the show, and he goes, "You give me fever," and the guy goes, "You give me beaver." And the whole place was on the floor. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. Buddy was laughing. Oh, it was such a great moment.
Buddy does not get the recognition he deserved for the player he was. He was unbelievable.
Now he's the new BB King. He's getting all of that now, I think.
It is coming now. Yeah, but he just slays on that thing. Still to this day. I saw a video.
Singing too. Singing is incredible. His singing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, he's awesome. If you love the blues and you don't like Buddy Guy, you don't like the blues. So where can people find those? First of all, before I let you go, where can people find those tour dates for Ontario and British Columbia for Kenny
all
versus
my social media pages? They're somewhere in there. Yeah. The DC tour, I think, is pinned on Facebook. It's the pinned one.
Okay.
I want to buy tickets and make sure that Kenny doesn't get his cut. Can I do that? Can I ask that? I
just send the money directly
money
to
goes
you.
To Spenny.
Yeah.
No,
that's what we should do. We should set up that we'll fuck Kenny over.
If he was here, he'd say, "What are you talking about? I get 99% of the money, and Spenny gets a 1%." Okay, guys.
Dude, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Good to see you, Spenny.
Take care. There's Spencer Rice, nicest guy on the planet. At Spenny on all your Twitter handles. Follow him. Fuck, is he funny? And unbelievably honest. Fucking the most honest dude you'll ever see in your life or talk to. Like I would never. I've never done any of those drugs. But if I'm like he's 59, if I'm a 59-year-old father of young children, the last thing I'm doing is going, I used to love heroin. Or like outing my parents as suppository addicts. And she loves talking about it. You know how fucking he has no ego, that guy. Like zero ego. None.
It's rare. And I think that's part of the reason why he's looking at us laughing. Because we're laughing because of the realness of it, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's so shocking. You don't get conversations like this in person with people, let alone on a podcast that is being listened to by a good chunk of people, right? That's where I think you and I are like dying. And he's like, why are you guys laughing? Like, because
he just thinks it's normal.
Yeah. And it is in his world. I mean, yeah. You and I missed that. I was going to say, is he 59, 60, 61? There was this group that came up just before us. We're just above them in this media sort of landscape here in the country. Anybody that I know that I worked with that has 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years on me and came up through radio, late 70s, early 80s, mid 80s, record company reps would show up at the radio station with an artist and a bag of cocaine. Mm-hmm. And before the interview, they would all do a line in the boss's office with the boss. That was not an uncommon situation. At some point, somebody, realized, maybe late 80s, early 90s, they were like, is this a good idea? Right? You know what I mean? Like it started to become frowned upon. So when you have a conversation with somebody at that age that came up through the entertainment business, like it's not uncommon for them to have a conversation with you about the drugs they did, because everybody did it. Mm-hmm. Everybody, right? And they complain about the Coke they get now. Oh man, the Coke we used to get back in the 80s was way better than the Coke you get now.
It was way more pure.
Exactly. So that's part of where I think he's coming from when he's witnessing our reaction to his stories. And I don't remember this. This was not a thing, right? Not only that, every single person I work with that is around the age of 59, 60 to this day had a raging drug problem in our business.
Oh, for sure. Dude, true story.
I can't think of somebody that didn't.
Buddy of mine, he's about 5-10 years older than me, was in radio. His name will go nameless. He'll remain nameless. That's what I should say. So we're going to go meet for coffee. And I haven't seen this guy in a long time. You would know who he is if I told you about him. And no.
What happened to
and
him,
he's like, what's that?
AF?
Who, Andy? Andy Frost?
Yeah.
No, he's just living life, man. Enjoying his life. I don't know what he's doing. I haven't talked to Andy
quiet.
for a long time. No, he's he's not one of those cats. He doesn't mind the odd dude though. But no, he's not that guy. But my point is this: go and meet this guy. Haven't met him. This is like a month ago. I go and meet him for coffee. We sit down, have a coffee. Fucking great visit. Shoot the shit. We talk about the industry. Well, he talked about the industry because I don't care about the industry. And go to the car, say goodbye, give him a handshake, a hug, a little bro hug. He goes, "Hey, do you want to do a bump before you go?" And I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about. Bump?" I thought he said bum. I'm like, "What do you mean bum?" He's like, "A bump. Like, you want to crush a bump before you go?" I'm like, "Are you talking about Coke?" He's like, "Yeah." I go, "We're in a Tim Hortons parking lot in Richmond Hill." Dude. And he's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, holy fuck, there is a generation gap when it comes to doing the exact wrong thing, isn't there?
Yeah.
And he's like, "Don't judge me." I'm like, how can I not? We just finished having a coffee in a cruiler, like two old dudes. You know how the old guys in like little towns across Canada, they get together on a Saturday, Sunday, sit around, bitch about the government, kind of what they do in Alberta, like at every Tim Hortons, they pull in, they're like, yeah, it's like that's what it was to me. It was like, oh yeah, we're going to get here. We're going to bitch about the industry. We're going to talk a little bit. And he's like, "Hey, you want to do a bump?" And I'm like, "No, what the fuck are you talking about?" And so he explains it to me. And I said to him, "No, I don't. And you probably shouldn't either." And he's like, "Dude, it's not that big of a deal anymore." I'm like, I beg to differ. He goes, "It's legal in BC." And I said, I don't understand. And so he went on this tangent because I said, I do not understand why you're doing that. I do. And on top of it, I get why people do it at parties. I get that you're going to go out and rage. I get you're going to go tie one on. You want to, but it's 11 a.m. and all the other stuff. It's not even. It was 10 o'clock in the morning, and we're having coffee on a fucking Tuesday. And I said that to him. It's Tuesday
hard
at
not
9:30 in the morning. How do I not judge you? Like, you should be going to your job. And he had a job. Like, he had a legitimate job in media, like a high-profile job in media. And he's like, "No, I'm good. This is how I've lived my life for like 30 years." And I'm like, well, clearly that's not a problem.
He's normalized
only been doing this for 30 fucking years.
He's normalized it. I've normalized my drinking.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if when you and I talk, you find it shocking the number of beers I have on a nightly basis. And I find it shocking you don't drink.
Yeah, I know. I do too. I got to be honest with you. I find it very shocking I don't drink. Because if you walked into a room with me and all my friends 5 or 6 years ago, and you're like, "There's Dean. He's going to lead the drunk machine right tonight. He's going to fucking hit it, tilt, boom." And everybody around him is going to have a great time. And then probably an hour before everything breaks up, Dean will just disappear because he gets that wasted all the time, where he gets the spins. And he's
are you the ghoster?
Oh, dude, I ghost all the time. Yeah, I'm like, "Hey, dude, the second you get a spin," and I used to measure the spins. This is how fucking much of a degenerate I was. I'm like, I would take 2 cigarettes, even though I didn't drink. And I would take 2 cigarettes, and I would, depending on where I was in my drinking, I would try a cigarette. And if I got the spins, it meant it was time for me to go.
Huh.
Isn't that weird? Yeah, that's what I did.
I usually know it's time to go home when I'm throwing up in the backyard.
Then you realize you are home.
And the cab dropped me off, and I crawled to the backyard.
But you're right. It was so much fucking more normal back then. Like, incredibly fucking normal.
Well, and it's still normal in a lot of circles, Dean. That's the thing. And I understand where you're coming from a judgment perspective. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. You just had a cruller and a dark roast with, 1 and 1 at Timmy's. and he's having a bump on his Toyota Corolla dashboard, right?
Yeah,
and
key.
he's a Kia.
How you doing?
I would be very judgmental of that. As much as I try not to be judgmental, I would consider that a problem if I saw a friend of mine doing that. But again, like I said, to balance the conversation out, I drink too much, and I could probably be judged harshly by many based on my consumption on a daily basis.
I don't judge. I don't judge because you're not bringing a 6-pack with you to have coffee with your friend.
I
gotta grab my keys. I gotta grab my wallet.
I would like to.
Better grab a 6-pack of Busch Light as well for the road trip. Where are you going?
Listen,
a half a kilometer away to a Tim Hortons. You need to take beer with you? Yeah, that's what happened with the Coke. Guys like, better take some Coke with me to my coffee with Dean, and I know he doesn't do Coke. And then to offer me Coke. And I was like, does this normalize? I remember I said, does this normalize it for you asking me if I'm going to do it? And he's like, no. And he's like, and then he says to me, I'm not embarrassed, I go, well, clearly you fucking are, because you just said you're not. Like, of course you're embarrassed. You look like a fucking idiot doing bumps behind the Tim Hortons at the age of 63. You stupid fuck. And he's like, I'm leaving. Don't tell my wife. I'm like, oh, so you're embarrassed by it and you don't want to tell your wife because that's how bad you know it is? He's like, yeah. I go, dude, I don't even have your wife's cell phone number, but I'm thinking of calling her anyway. And he's like, fuck off. And he gets in his car and he leaves. And everybody would know who this person is.
Don't call his wife. I know you won't, but
I would
you,
never do
you
that.
can't. You can't do that.
No, it's not my issue.
Everybody has their cross to bear. That's his, right? And again, he was just looking for someone to join him on his journey, right?
For a quick couple of lines of Coke at the Tim Hortons.
You shut him down. You're a bad friend.
I am a terrible friend. Thanks for doing this, dude. Great to see you.
That was a good one today.
That was a lot of fun. It's a shame. I wanted to get to Kenny and Spenny, Kenny versus Spenny, the Kenny fart. It's easily one of the funniest moments in Kenny versus Spenny. I was going to play it for him and ask him because to me, this looks like he would have been mad. This is probably why he did drugs, by the way.
Don't do that.
I'd do drugs too if the guy I worked with farted on my head in timeouts. Anyway, thanks for doing this, dude.
Yes, fantastic. Hey, we got tags on tomorrow.
Alex Tagliani. Yeah, I'm really excited. We got Alex Tagliani, part of the Pinty.
Can we
Racing
bring
Tour.
somebody on that knows anything about fucking racing? Because I know nothing.
I talked to Colin, who's coming on with us tomorrow. I talked to Colin for like an hour and a half.
Oh, Colin's coming on? Okay, good.
Yeah, Colin from Cantork, the sponsor for Alex Tagliani's racing team, the Cantork racing team.
Yeah,
and Alex, yeah. They're totally partners. And Colin is an absolute stud. I talked to him for like an hour and a half. Cantork, you know how cool your friend is out of Edmonton from Cantork, which is how we got this interview because he's buddies with Alex Tagliani, IndyCar, NASCAR guy.
Yeah. He's doing NASCAR now. I don't think he does. He hasn't done Indy for years, right?
No, he hasn't, but he was.
But he was in IndyCar at the beginning of his career. He did Indy. Yeah,
he sure was. Him and Patrick Carpentier, if you remember that, for Players Racing back when they could advertise smokes.
Yes,
remember that. Anyway, so I talked to him for like your buddy Colin, who's bringing Tagliani on to talk about racing and life and good things. And I'm talking to Colin yesterday. Just a fucking awesome conversation. You know those conversations where you get into people and you're like, oh my God, I've been talking to this guy for an hour and a half. Never met him before. We're just kindred spirits. Golfer, snap show like us, loves life, loves to have fun. So I'm talking to him yesterday.
You can dig too into shit with Colin.
Yeah. Oh, he's super bright. Yeah. Super smart. So he owns this company called Cantork. They make nuts, bolts, big ones. And they're really good.
He makes parts for like if you're building a machine and you need something in that machine to make that machine work, he will fabricate and build it for you.
Yeah, metal fabrication. But you know how everybody likes to metal fabricate overseas because it's cheaper? Do you know what he did over the last few years?
I know.
He brought he brought all the manufacturing from overseas back into Canada to employ Canadians. And I fucking couldn't believe it because it's like the most unpopular thing to do, right? But this guy is such a good dude. This is why I love Albertans. He's like, not many people do that in other provinces either. He's like, you know what? I trust our people. I want to do something for the environment. I want to do something for the people that we work with. I want to do something for the economy. So he brought all that manufacturing back into Canada. So everything Cantork does is Canadian made, Canadian operated, Canadian conceived.
Well,
Canadian
and people come from all over the world to get his shit, eh?
Yeah, he's high end.
Yeah. It's not just a Canadian. It's a Canadian company, but I mean, he works with people all over the world, right? Yeah. So I did know that because he was getting a lot of his shit done in Turkey.
Yeah.
And so I did know that part of the story. But yeah,
he's a good dude. He's like, I'm like, dude, that's like a national cool story that people should be talking about.
Yeah.
So I thought it was worth mentioning. But he's going to be on with Alex tomorrow, and I think we got some fun stuff to talk about too. But I'm really excited to have Tagliani on. It's going to be a good time.
He's a good guy. You know, he's deathly allergic to peanuts. I did not know this, but he is. Yeah,
Alex
he's got a wild peanut allergy.
Like does he have an EpiPen?
Yeah. He does a lot of stuff for EpiPen, to promote that actually.
Oh, does he really?
It's dead serious. Like dead serious. Like if he comes into contact with any peanuts, it could kill him in minutes. So yeah.
No, good thing we're doing this on Zoom because I have a whole thing of cashews sitting right next to me. I'm just going to eat them.
I love cashews.
I do too.
Yeah.
Great roughage, by the way. Anyway, thanks for doing this, dude. Appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. We'll see you tomorrow.
You got it. Lachlan Cross, 957 Cruise FM at Enton, at Lachlan Cross on Twitter is where you can find him. Give him a follow. He's a good dude. He's a real good dude. Follow Spenny, too. There's another good dude, at Spenny on Twitter. Thank you, everybody, for being part of the program. We'll be back tomorrow with Colin Livingston from Cantork Racing and Alex Tagliani, Canadian race legend, right here on the program tomorrow around 3-4 o'clock. So subscribe to us on YouTube if you get a chance. That'd be great. Also, Twitch, D Blundell Show on Twitch, or D Blundell TV on Twitch, Dean Blundell Show on YouTube. Anywhere you get podcasts, audio podcasts, please subscribe, rate, review if you can. That'd be awesome. And thank you, everybody. Appreciate you joining us today. Thanks to our friends over at Kivlaw. Go to kivlaw.ca today if you're looking for a criminal defense attorney. If you're in trouble, someone's accused you of wrongdoing. Dude, this happened today. Someone accused him from the show. Dude went and actually contacted Locke, and the guy was like raging on Twitter all day long yesterday and today about how great Rob is. Kivlaw.ca. These are professionals that make sure that you can navigate the legal system depending on your situation. He knows everything. His team of lawyers know everything in terms of telling you the truth, making sure that you get great representation. So if you've been popped for impaired, you've been accused of something you did or didn't do, you want to get your life back, you want someone to be able to help you navigate your criminal defense issues, Rob knows exactly what to do. Rob Kivlikin is the owner of Kivlaw.ca. His team of professionals know that you need honest answers about your situation. Experienced defense attorneys are your last stop before you go to jail or you have a criminal record that could affect your life forever. Whether you did the stuff or didn't do the stuff, you need somebody to advocate for you and absolutely tell you the truth. That is your guy, Robert at Kivlaw.ca. Again, Robert at Kivlaw.ca. Get in touch with him if you get a chance. Dude is saving lives and giving people peace of mind. That's what he does as a lawyer. Weird, too, when you talk to him about it. He's like, you know what the job of a lawyer is? To give people peace of mind, but also to tell them the truth so that you can give them every opportunity to succeed. It doesn't matter. It's what he does, Kivlaw.ca. Proud partners of Kivlaw.ca as well. EasyAutoFinancial.ca. Really cool people that help people get into cars. Financing is what it is. A lot of people want to charge you for your financing. These guys do not. They make sure that you get the financing you need and you do not have to pay for it. And then they send you to go get the car that you want at the dealership that you want to buy it from with that free financing. It's turnkey, super simple, no obligation. Go to easyautofinancial.ca for more details today. And, of course, Ed at Ed's Fine Imports. Go to edsfineimports.com and no obligation at all. But what you do is you go shopping. It's online shopping. It's what it is. But it's clothing for men and boys and some of the coolest shit on the planet as well. Johnny Varvatos, 34 Heritage Jeans, of course, his Gitch, GITCH3. That is your promo code. If you want to buy some underwear, boxer briefs, pouch in the front, he's your guy. We wear them all the time. You can too. Ed's Gitch, GITCH. Gitch3 is your promo code. edsfineimports.com. Clothing for men and boys. That's it for us. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you over tomorrow, 3 o'clock, 3, 4 o'clock. What are we? 3, 4? I think we're 4. One of the two. We'll be putting on a note on Twitter. Follow us there as well. @It's Dean Blundell. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.